What's up, everybody? It's your girl Hope Dreamer, and it is Halloween, so it is time for a spooky story. I have had a lot of paranormal experiences in my life, and I actually grew up in a haunted house. It was my childhood home that was haunted, and the house that I live in now is also haunted, I think, too. So, what I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be sharing my paranormal experiences with you guys. So, let's get right into it, shall we? So, the first story that I'm going to be sharing with you guys is when I was very, very young. Um, so, alright. We had dogs, and I had to let the dogs in. So, when you go outside, there's a porch about 5 by 5 feet of concrete, and then you have to go straight across to the dog's kennel to let them in. So it's about 5 steps, and then like across from the porch on the opposite side of where the door and where the dog kennel is a playset. It's 15 feet out, I guess, about. I'm trying my best to give a visual description. But anyways, it was nighttime, and I happened to look across at the playset. I do this like every time I let the dogs in for no particular reason. But when I looked over, I saw someone standing. He was like 6 foot. He was huge. We measured it out later on from where I saw him, and he was like 6 foot. And it was just a solid black figure wearing a top hat. And he didn't have any discernible features. It's a lot like the drawing that I'm doing in the background. It just kind of looked like that, except minus the red eyes and the red smile. It's just straight black, and I couldn't see past him, so I assumed maybe it wasn't a ghost. And so I ran back inside, and I knew my parents wouldn't believe me. And so I went up to my brother's room, and I'm like, hey, I saw someone in the backyard. I want to make sure that they're not still there. Can you let me look through your window? Because my window didn't see out into the backyard, but his did. And so we peeked out the window, but he wasn't there. So my brother assumed naturally I must have been lying. But in this case, I wasn't, and it was still a frightening experience for me. The next time I saw him, I was about maybe, I want to say like maybe 10. And I was folding laundry, and it was bright daylight outside, but out of the corner of my eye, I saw him in the exact same place through the living room windows. And I looked over, like I saw him out of the corner of my eye, but when I looked to see if he was still there, he wasn't. He vanished. And I was beyond freaked out at this point, and I did open up to my mom about it, but she didn't believe me. So, yeah. She thought it was my childhood, like my big imagination that I had as a child. So, yeah. Later, I looked up what I had seen, and what popped up was shadow people. And apparently, when you're like, okay, so I'm just gonna look this up real quick. But I did find some helpful information because I wanted to know if he'd come back after all these years. Fortunately, no, there was never any accounts from where they came back and re-haunted that person, so that was good. So what I looked up was tall black cat man. And oh, okay, yeah, not that. So it says, I'm gonna read the article out loud for you guys. Alright, here's this is grimmagazine.com where I'm reading this. The Top Hat Man. The Top Hat Man is a shadowy person or a demon depending on your source that has been reported all over the world. The entity is usually described as a tall shadow man dressed in a black trench coat and is wearing a wide brim hat or a fedora. He is distinctly male, and witnesses say he has no face or shadowy blurred face. Most shadow entities are usually seen for a moment or two before disappearing. But the Hat Man seems to be different, often staying for prolonged periods of time, and sometimes he even touches, chokes, or assaults his victims. Another aspect of the Hat Man that is eerie and more sinister than other people is that the top Hat Man is often associated with hostile environments, aggression, and sometimes the indicator that something evil will happen. Those who see him often witness domestic disturbances and family breakdowns, noting a tangibly negative atmosphere, sense of dread, or hopelessness. For this reason, many have labeled the spirit a demon, an intelligent haunt, capable of both physical and psychological manipulation. The Hat Man may well be able to oppress those it comes into contact with, leading to credence to this theory. And it says something about him liking the terror he causes. And according to everyone who's seen him, the Hat Man appears as a completely dark figure like other shadow people. The obvious difference is that the Hat Man wears a hat that has appeared as a top hat in some settings and a fedora in others. While many are unable to make out what he's wearing, some report seeing old-fashioned clothing, like I did, a long trench coat or cape, and he always appears at least 6 feet tall. The Hat Man's face is usually indistinguishable, but to many he has visited have claimed he has had red glowing eyes, unlike other shadow people. There have also been reports that the Shadow Man carries a gold watch attached by a chain to his belt and will occasionally look at it. So that's all, but most of that describes what I saw when I saw him. And I also heard knocking at my window when when my parents moved me into the basement. They made my whole room Hello Kitty just because I wasn't happy about going in the basement. They were like, but I loved Hello Kitty at the time, so they were like, if you move into the basement, we'll paint your room however you want it. And so yeah, I agreed to that. I would say that I didn't really have a happy childhood, I guess. Like, my parents didn't get along that well, and so it wasn't really a good childhood, and we were constantly hearing yelling and stuff, so I guess that does cause a negative atmosphere for him to come and appear to that. Also, I did look up the information when I was I think it was when I was 15 and when I was in a much more stable mindset. I remembered that I never forgot the experience, and so I looked it up later on. I did remember there was one night where I could have seen him. I was in my room, and there was a small gap between the bed frame and the wall, because my bed was pushed up against the wall in the room beside my window. And at this time, I wasn't tired at all, so I was kind of just like goofing around in my room. And I remember that I peeked over the bed frame, and there were two red glowing eyes looking back at me. And so I kind of just stood still for a moment because that's not what you expect when you look over a bed frame. You're not expecting to see anything. And so I kind of just stood in shock for a moment before pulling back and then hiding underneath the covers because I was a child and that is where I felt most safe. I was an unusual child because I never went to my parents for any type of support. I never went to them asking or telling them what had happened. I just kind of went underneath my covers because that was my safe spot. Another experience was when I was a bit younger. I think it was it was when I was 8 probably. And I was I woke up in the middle of the night. I don't know what it was, but I always kept my closet door on and and open a little because I had anxiety about what would be lurking in the dark. And this was when I was like still in the basement. But anyways, I look over and in the darker corner of the room, there was a orb, which it was like, so if you ever went to a swimming pool and you seen the water reflect, like the light reflect off of the water, it was like that perfect circular, about maybe like, it was perfectly like circular, and it was just there. I didn't have any water in the room, and so I looked at it, and of course, I got freaked out, so I hid underneath the covers again. But I to this day don't know what it was, but I do believe that it was maybe something paranormal. Um, sorry. Another experience I do not know, but my sister also reported seeing the ghost I'm about to describe now. Okay, so my last experience that I'm going to share in this video, until I can look further back and remember more memories, because most of my childhood in that house I do not remember, which is perfectly normal from what I hear. The last thing I'm going to tell you is I don't know what I saw, but I remember that we used to watch The Walking Dead as a family, and so I was going downstairs to get my blanket. And when I was running, that like you have to go down the stairs and then turn and go through a hallway to get to my room. And so I was running back. I had grabbed my blanket off the bed and I was running back when all of a sudden I see a beautiful woman. Like, I tried my best to just to draw her from memory, but she was very, very beautiful, and she had a ghostly light kind of like surrounding her. She was slightly transparent, but every single part, like even her hair was flowy, like she was underwater and her feet never touched the ground. She was floating, and she floated down the stairs and started floating right towards me, and I couldn't stop in time, and she went right through me. And I looked back, but I didn't see her. But the thing that kind of unnerved me was how beautiful she was. Even now, I still remember it like so clearly, even though I only saw her for a limited amount of time. But she always had her eyes closed, but it was like she knew exactly where she was going. I don't remember how old I was when this happened. I think I was maybe 7. And as far as I know, nobody else has had an experience like mine, so if you have and you know what it means, please tell me, because I am so confused. I have no idea what this means or anything, and it just help a lot if you could go down in the comments just for a bit and tell me take the time to tell me what it means. But yeah, so those are my paranormal experiences. If you guys want to hear more from the house that I'm living in currently, please let me know in the comments down below, but this video was kind of just dedicated to my childhood experiences because it was a really creepy childhood that I had. But yeah. So yeah, I will be trick-or-treating hopefully tonight, but if I am not, then that's going to be disappointing. But yeah, I hope you all have a wonderful Halloween, and I will try to get an animation out next year around this time, but I just didn't have enough time and I was too busy. So yeah, that's all. I hope you all have a wonderful Halloween. Hope you get lots of candy, and comment down below what you're dressing up as, and that will be the end of the video. So if you like this video, please hit that big thumbs up button. It means the world to me. And if you like art related videos, consider subscribing as I upload every Friday. So yeah, that's the end of the video, and I will see you later, dreamers. and have a great day.